Hi, this is Oliver Lucanus from Below Water. Today we want to have a look at the natural habitat of heros. These cichlids are widespread in South America, so these habitats are really diverse when it comes to watercolor and water chemistry, but structurally they're all quite similar. Heros prefer habitats with low or moderate flow and plenty of roots, sunken trees, and branches for cover. Of course, these same habitats are home to plenty of other cichlids like Satanoperca, chocolate cichlids, discus, and uaru. When the rains start in the lowland Amazon, rivers step over the banks, lower plants begin to die off, and the water loses visibility. To get usable video, you have to get close to the fish. I was looking for heros footage for this video and found this. It is actually a nest of Crinicycla marmorata. There's a female in the hole in the side of the riverbank, and these young heros efasciatus are fascinated by their reflection in the dome port. They are also about to lose some scales, because these big pike cichlids don't tolerate other fish this close to their nest. These young heros have banded together in a loose group to forage along the riverbank. These holes can be home to Crinicycla, but also to electric eels or large hoplias. Both pose a far greater threat to these cichlids. We try to do these maps, but of course they're not totally accurate. It is just to give you a general idea of where the fish are found. Heros efasciatus is the most widespread, all across the Amazon lowland, from Peru to Brazil and up into the Brazilian Shield. A lot of these cichlids start to breed when the rainy season has raised the riverbanks and there's a lot of new habitat and new food available to them. This pair in the Rio Araguaia has their larvae in this fallen log. You can see the difference between the male and female nicely. The male has all the intricate patterns on the face and the female does not. In the south, the Upper Guaporé in Brazil and Bolivia is where Heros spurius occurs. This is a fish we never see in the aquarium because there just aren't any exports from this region. Here the males have lots of spots in sort of irregular rows, and the females are more green and yellow. Heros notatus is found in the Rio Negro. This species is more yellow, has rows of red spots, and the bars usually just show as blotches along the stomach. This fish also does not get exported a lot, but it is very beautiful. The real Heros severus was missing from the hobby for many years and only started to come in again in 2014. You can recognize it by the incomplete bar near the tail. These are little ones that I filmed in the 1990s. They are foraging in the riverbank, and some fair-sized Crinicycla are here also, but they're hunting for smaller prey. As adults, the real severus is a very nice fish with plenty of red and blue color. In the same habitat, there is another potentially new species that has the complete bar and rows of spots when adult. The Middle Orinoco is where we find Heros libirifer, the fish we used to call species mouthbrooder. It has a name since 2014. The other 4 heros species have been described since the early 1800s. When they are breeding, they are really beautiful. The whole lower part of the fish gets red. So this is the typical habitat. There's a fallen tree, plenty of branches, and plenty of complexity for them to hide from larger peacock bass, piranhas, and hoplias during the day, and lots of narrow wood crevices where they can sleep at night, with reasonable safety from big catfish and electric eels. Plenty of Mesonauta insignis here, and also chocolate cichlids and young peacock bass, as well as Crinicycla. This is less typical, a habitat with much higher flow just below some rapids. We are around 4 meters deep, a bit unusual for this type of cichlid. Here the heros stay in the slack water, but any wood would get flushed out in the rainy season, so they live between the rocks. As weird as that seems, other cichlids that you would not expect in this sort of habitats do that also, even some discus populations. Small cameras are great to capture this kind of natural behavior, but I always forget where I put them and then end up frantically looking for them in the rapids. Heroina isosonycteria is not related to heros. They are actually closer to Kaketaia, but they look so similar and I wanted to at least mention them here. The reason we don't see this fish exported a lot is simple. It lives up in the headwaters of the rivers in Peru, Ecuador, and Colombia. It is a much smaller and very easy to breed fish. There are potentially more heros species. One is heros species Rotkeil or red shoulder that is in the Rio Nanay in Peru. That may just turn out to be a nicer form of Heros efasciatus. Next is the weird fish similar to Heros severus that we mentioned already. Finally, there are Heros in the Guyanas. They look kind of similar to Heros notatus. Many thanks to Odwin Anthony for letting me use this photo because I have not seen this fish myself. So what does a Heros spawn look like in nature? This is Heros efasciatus in the Amazon lowland. The rainy season is at peak and the rivers have totally stepped over their banks. The bushes along the banks are now totally submerged, and these dense stands of thin branches are the place where Heros and discus like to breed. To us northerners, these bushes look like salix, the willow plants we see growing along the margins of our rivers. You can see the Heros are really prolific, guarding hundreds of fry. This is at a depth of 3 meters or 10 feet. This affords the parents quite good protection from predators, because the fish large enough to eat the adults can't really get into the core of these bushes. But small predators that feed on the fry can of course get in there. That can be smaller pteracins like Munchausias and Brychonops, but especially the dwarf Cichlids. They gorge themselves on the young cichlids at this time of the year. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed our Heros video. Make sure to share this widely and subscribe to this channel. When we reach 5,000 subscribers, we will make a Discus in Nature video.